That was just amazing play here on WOGL TV, stepping it up, this guy. The action going down, and it's a 1v4.
Oh, 3 of them down.
And Soviet takes down War Machine. They rush bridge side, and it's a 4v2 now. The bomb is planted. They got the site locked down pretty tight.
Non-discriminate world on borders, race, gender, and disability. The cyber world. Esports begins the dream of a unified world. The culture for the next generation of global citizens, esports. Esports stands for electronic sports, and it is a new leisure activity where gamers use their physical and mental abilities to fight each other in a virtual electronic environment. Unlike other sports that have restrictions of time and space, esports can be enjoyed by anyone, anytime, anywhere with internet access, and is gaining recognition as the sport of the future. Esports is a market where investment and support by the private sector and governmental organizations have been increasing in countries around the world. Due to such growth, international IT corporations are rushing to participate in the market. And esports is becoming more popular as more Asian and European nations participate in esports events. Esports is becoming more popular year after year. While it is making quantitative growth as the number of various international tournaments increases, the system for administrating these tournaments is uncoordinated and fragmented. In terms of competitions held by the private sector, the persistence and stability of the events can't be guaranteed due to the changes in the decisions of corporations and organizers. Also, there is room for improvement in the regulation and rules of international esports to develop and grow up. As the need for global cooperation increases in order to resolve these problems, the International Esports Federation, which was formed in August 2008, held a general meeting in November of the same year and took the first steps to establishing a system by electing executives, approving member nations, and making decisions on key agendas. 9 countries, 3 countries in Asia, including Korea, and 6 countries in Europe, joined as the founding members of the IESF. IESF is carrying out the following 4 key projects to promote integrated growth of esports worldwide. The first project is the structuring and organizational administration of IESF. One esports association will be named as an official member of IESF, and associate member and special member rights will be granted depending on international collaborations with esports. The next project is the standardization of international esports. The IESF will establish international standards for esports and operate an organization committee, e-players committee, referees committee, competition committee, certification committee, and esports title committee based on these standards. Based on the international standards established by each committee, the IESF will host integrated international esports events. Until the brand value of the IESF becomes stronger, the IESF will host integrated international esports events run by member nations and will secure the sustainability of the tournaments by strengthening public interest and securing business rights such as broadcasting, sponsorship, and intellectual property. Lastly, IESF will focus on training human resources for international esports. By establishing player management and a ranking system for each nation, it will establish a systematic foundation for training human resources and operating an administration system for training high-quality referees. Our vision is to promote esports, a new recreational culture enjoyed by global citizens. The IESF will carry out and execute the following 5-year plan and will deliver and implement the 5 key projects. In 2009, the IESF will strengthen its foundation in Asia and Europe and begin research and development for standardizing esports worldwide. In 2010, the IESF will expand member nations in Asia, expand into Oceania, and carry out the global standardization of esports. In 2011, the IESF intends to expand into North and South America. In 2012, the IESF will expand across the 5 continents and establish a collaborative relationship with key international sports organizations such as the IOC. In 2013, the IESF will continue to increase the number of member nations, register itself as an international sports organization, and form MOUs with key international sports organizations. By hosting regular meetings and an international esports symposium a year, the IESF will promote international esports tournaments. With the above, the IESF aims to grow as the international sports organization, which has nearly 50 member nations within 5 years. Esports is not only the potential future of sport, but it is an industry that is capturing the attention of governments around the world for its economic, social, industrial, and commercial benefits. By establishing an esports collaboration model between nations, the industrial values and public interest values of esports as a recreational culture are expected to grow dramatically. The IESF will work to ensure that esports becomes a key industry and recreational culture of each member nation. A creative industry that leads the world. Esports is at the center of this creative industry. To become a sport of the future to enjoy anytime, anywhere. To become a next-generation growth engine that heightens a nation's competitiveness. Let's make one esports world. It's time to share the infinite potential of esports and advance toward a better tomorrow.
All right, we're live.
Hello and welcome to WOGL TV. My name is Sandy. I'm here with the CEO of WOGL. OL, what's
Not much. How's it going, Sandy?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be here, and we're also joined by a special guest, Saidin from CrossFire. What's up, Saidin?
Oh, not too much. Thanks for having me back. Love these things.
Absolutely. It's going to give us a really good chance to let the community know what's going on with CrossFire, what's going on with WOGL. So there's a lot of questions out there. If you have some questions, you can post them on our World Online Gaming League Facebook. And if you're in Ventrilo, the URL is in my comment also. So you can just search Facebook World Online Gaming League, and we'll get to the user questions towards the end of the interview. But for now, I want to jump right into it. And well, what's going on with Season 3, Europe, North America? How's the turnout? How's the outlook? You know, give us a little update.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing this year has been obviously we've separated the North American side and the European side with two different websites. So we were kind of thinking with adding the European element that we would see more teams signing up, and you know we definitely, I think, chose the right direction there. You know, just to start off with talking about, you know, WOGL EU, and the biggest thing there was we had 49 teams registered for play this season, and out of those 49 teams, we only had 7 teams drop, which is really good numbers. So when you start looking at some of the other games that we put together with Combat Arms and some other ones, we see huge numbers drop off from preseason to regular season. So it's good to see that the teams are sticking around and playing the events. Some other things going on in EU. I mean, we've got 3 top teams that everybody seems to be on the lookout for, and obviously one of those being Rock, who won last season. And then Seals Gaming and Liquid, who's supposed to be, I guess, one of the best German teams in CrossFire. So definitely watch out for those 3 teams in Europe. So that, like I said, that CrossFire EU or WOGL EU and CrossFire is really working out well, and we're hoping to see that expand going into to the next season. And in terms of North America, obviously this is Season 3 for North America, and we had 56 teams sign up for Open, which is a fairly good number. I mean, I think our expectation was that we would see a lot more teams signing up, especially with you know, obviously the big talk of the big tournaments like WCG and WIM and that type of stuff out there. I really thought we'd see a lot more teams signing up, and the cash prize, obviously, that doesn't hurt either. And out of those 56 teams, or 56 teams, that doesn't count the 9 pro teams that we have signed up in the professional league. So definitely want to see the numbers get a little bigger on that side of things, but I think with competition growing and obviously the game continues to grow, I think we'll see some bigger turnouts in following seasons. And open teams, I know a lot of the guys already know really the top pro team right now is Lifeline, and I don't think that's any surprise to most people. But the top open teams right now is really, I think, end of the line. I believe Flow is in one of the top 3 teams, and Team Wolves, I think, is another team that definitely need to watch out for. So looking forward to seeing how everything turns out, and it's certainly been an exciting season so far.
Yeah, I'm really glad we finally have that EU site set up. I remember there was a lot of problems with scheduling and stuff, and now that they have their own dedicated site, it's going to be a lot better for competition over there. I want to bring in Saidin real quick. I know you wanted to talk about maybe some updates coming with CrossFire. Clan system.
Yeah, actually, it's probably a good spot too. You know, looking at I had a chance to see the site before it was put live, and I thought it was amazing. And I'm really happy that WOGL EU is taking off, and it really looks like it's going to be successful, especially from a CrossFire standpoint. But you know, we're always looking to grow the game, and getting people into this competitive scene is something that it's a challenging task when you're dealing with such a large game, and with a lot of people who don't even necessarily know about what their options are. So, you know, looking to the future, we're going to be working more with WOGL and trying to get word out and better stuff. And I mean, one of the things that we can look forward to is updates on the game. You know, content-wise, it's not always important for what the competitive players want or what WOGL is doing, but there are some things that we can do on our side that can help improve it. And one of the things that we do have planned is to start introducing more ways to track clans on the clan page. And by that I mean we're looking to start bringing in wins and losses, rating system based on ELO, and various other things. You know, I don't want to confirm too much or get into too specifics about days, but you know, over the next few months we're looking to implement a few systems that can help grow competitive communities and bring people together, you know, with the goal of having them play casually but play competitively with their group, in the hopes that they can see that this is something they enjoy doing and ultimately move to a place like WOGL to participate, you know, and help grow that kind of community. So we're kind of excited for that. We're still a ways off. A lot of stuff's in the planning stages and in the development stages, but you know, bringing the wins and losses back on the clan server, allowing people to play in groups, and then ultimately bringing those groups into competitive circles is something that we're looking to do. So, you know, growth is non-stop, and it's really good to see that Season 3 is taking off, and we're really excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, we always appreciate you guys doing things for the competitive community. I can't think of any other game where you know, the devs work so well to make sure there's a competitive element to the game, and definitely looking forward to that new clan system. And either of you guys can jump in here. Just tell us what's going on with WCG North America and Canada.
Well, I'll start on this one. Well, I might as well just talk about WCG and the requirements and stuff before you get into the details. You know, CrossFire was picked for being involved in the WCG, and we couldn't have been more excited. We had an opportunity to get WOGL involved in the Canadian qualifiers, and we jumped all over it. So, you know, we know that you know, the Canadian side of things is a little bit smaller, but we also know that some of the best players are from Canada, and we're really looking forward to seeing what Canada can output. And we love the fact that we get to work with WOGL on this kind of stuff. And I guess I'll start by talking about what the requirements are for those who may not know. WOGL is handling the Canadian qualifiers, and OL will talk to about all the events and stuff, but as far as the specific requirements go, you'll have to be a Canadian citizen with a valid passport and a valid address, and that might throw a loop for some people who might have addresses in different countries or something that they have to have a valid address in Canada. And then, you know, through the series of events that OL is going to talk about, eventually you'll get the chance to go to Korea, and we're really excited. And hopefully our version, which will include North America, both Canada and the US, will be represented well, and us being home Canadians up here will be cheering for the Team Canada all the way.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for us, and you know, obviously, you know, working with you guys on CrossFire for quite a while now. You know, obviously 3 seasons and quite a few other events. You know, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to put some teams together to send overseas to play and compete. I know we you know, we tried with WIM, and hopefully we'll come out a little bit higher in the brackets this time with WCG once we get the teams put together for that. But as far as the event for us, what we're looking at doing is looking a lot like what they do in North America. We're going to run 3 cups at 3 different time periods, so that way, you know, there's a first cup where people can go ahead and register and start competing, but it also will allow people to continue to build teams. I know there's a lot of players out there that are still trying to put teammates together, so this is going to give them, or at least stretch the dates out a little bit in order to give them that time to get their teams together. We're looking to start announcing the dates probably closer to the end of this month. We'll have the dates ready, and the other item, or big item, is, you know, this is going to be a little bit different also in terms of Canada versus North American. You know, what we're going to do for a final is, obviously that's online. It's not a LAN event for Canada. And WOGL will be hosting that final. Basically, you're going to play in a cup for a qualifying spot in the finals, and we will put a finals bracket together for you to compete in the finals, and that winner will win that trip to Korea to compete on behalf of Canada. So we're definitely looking forward to running this event and to seeing how many teams we can get from Canada signed up, and certainly looking forward to seeing our team get there and take the whole thing. So looking forward to it.
Well, speaking of WCG, I believe we have someone who is qualified. We're going to bring in the Dupe from Procore LPK and ask him a few questions. Hey, what's going on, the Dupe?
How's it going?
Oh, thanks for joining us. And I just wanted to ask you some questions about how the last WOGL event went and your experience, if you have any feedback.
Alright, sounds good.
So go ahead, go for it. You're on the...
By last WOGL event, do you mean the Season 1? Or...
I think he was meaning the WCG event, your qualifying event.
Okay. It was a big challenge. It's always a weird dynamic when it involves countries, and you got teammates that you've played with for 2-3 years, and all of a sudden you can't play with them anymore because they're from a different country than you. So it definitely brings up a different dynamic. I don't know if I like it more than regular just teams playing for qualifying, but I don't know. The event was good. ESSA, they have a really good background. A lot of the community had questions and wanted rules to get changed and just needed more info, and the admins they're always quick to respond. So the tournament went very well. There's a lot of pretty much the well-known teams like Face Down, Vanity, Instinct. Lifeline had their American team, and then there's a whole bunch of newer teams that are playing WOGL and stuff that still put up big rounds against the kind of, I want to say, veteran players. So overall, it definitely was kind of shocking to me to see how much better a lot of the teams have got. I mean, most of these teams have been playing together, similar rosters since early 2010 before the WM tournament was announced, and the skill ceiling in CrossFire is getting so much higher where teams just keep getting better and better. It's no longer whoever has the best shot is always going to win. So that's always a good thing to have for a competitive game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and,
I was going to say that's really exciting to hear, actually, just from our perspective. You know, it's really nice to hear that the players themselves are enjoying it and getting more and more skilled. You know, an event like WCG obviously is country specific, so you know I can sympathize with some of the players in how complicated it might be to set up their teams. But it's really nice to hear that everybody's having fun and that everyone is doing so well.
yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to ask the Dupe how he feels going into this LAN. Have you ever been to a LAN event before? I know there's probably some ping issues. It's like hard to get used to. And you know, have you had any experience with that, you or any of your team?
Yeah, just about everyone on the new Procore LPK roster has been to a LAN at some point, whether it's CrossFire with WM in China, our Source LANs, our 1.6 LANs. So we definitely got a lot of LAN experience. It's not really that the game's different, it's just a different environment. It's kind of like if you ever played a sport and you got to playoffs or districts, the pressure is just so much greater. You'll find yourself making mistakes that you don't normally make if you're just playing at home in your room at your desk with ESPN on and drinking juice. So it's a lot more intense, and I almost say it brings out a lot more emotions. Like, you really get a sense of who your teammates are after you meet up with them in person. So, because there's always the time when you're not playing in the BYOC area or on the stage, there's a lot of interaction that goes on that's a lot better than just sitting in Ventrilo talking to each other and going over strats. So that's always one of my favorite things about LANs.
So, using that LAN experience, do you have any predictions, or how do you expect to play?
Obviously I expect to play first, but I think every team out of the 4 that are going to make it to the Nationals for America, I mean, all of them are going to expect to place first. It's really just going to be whoever puts the most work in, whoever wants it the most, that ends up earning the trip to Korea. I mean, out of the top teams on the American side, everyone's kind of around the same skill level. Even though we went undefeated in the bracket for WCG, we actually scrimmed nearly every team that we ended up playing, and a lot of those scrims were kind of blowouts in the other team's favor, so it's kind of disheartening when you got a match in 2 hours and you just get blown out by a team that you know you're going to end up playing next round. So,
Dupe, what would you say to those players that either didn't sign up or plan to sign up because they just don't feel they have that skill level? I mean, what advice would you give players just getting into the competitive side of CrossFire to step up and play some of these top teams and start working together as a team?
The one thing that always amazes me about CrossFire is I'll go into a pub and I'll just be completely outplayed by people who I've never seen of or heard of, like in the competitive side. The individual skill is there for a lot of the people that play CrossFire. They're great at bunny hopping and sniping and all the tricks with the recoil. But really it comes down to you need to find teammates that you can trust, where you're not always trying to win the match by yourself. You need to be able to kind of hand out roles and have people fill those roles. So that's really the biggest thing. If you want to get into the competitive gaming, you really just got to find people that are like-minded and kind of just all work together to get in there. I mean, where it's at right now, just about any group of like 5-6 people that really want to be the best, if they put the time in, playing a couple hours each night and going over their mistakes and whatnot, there's nothing holding them back from competing with the veterans like the Lifeline, SNSD, LPK, like all the top teams that people already know of.
So, Dupe, I have a question for you, if I can put you on the spot. If you've said that, what do you think an official company like ours can do to help that situation? I mean, we're in a position, unlike a lot of other games that sort of exist on their own, but we try to involve ourselves in the community as a whole, whether it be casual or competitive. But is there something that you feel that maybe Z8 or G4 can do to help that kind of situation?
I think if you were able to hold more localized tournaments, that would definitely help start it off, because a lot of the casual players, I know when I first started gaming, I just kind of played local with friends and stuff and competed in the St. Louis area. So if maybe you could put out a couple more servers throughout Canada and America and kind of hold like regional local tournaments, that'll kind of help get people in the door. They'll get that taste of winning and that taste of competing, and then from there they'll go, all right, well, the 3 of us want to do it, so they'll go find 2 other people, and then they'll move up and just keep going on until next thing you know they're playing WOGL P against the top team for $1,000 or $1,200, whatever it is now.
Yeah, cool. That's a good idea. All right, thanks.
All right, Duke. Well, thanks very much for your time, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, moving back to interview questions here. I wanted to talk to Saidin a little bit about S&D maps. I'm getting a lot of PMs actually right now from people asking about S&D maps. In addition to our CrossFire director, I don't know. Apparently, it's been a while since one's been released. Do you have any tidbits you want to?
No. Well, that's not true. Yeah, I can tell you for sure. We have heard the cries. We do know that S&D maps haven't been added in the game in a while, and I can assure you that the developers also know that. The best thing I can say to you is to just keep watching. Yeah, that's about all. I don't want to reveal too much about what's coming up. There's lots of stuff planned for the next 2 to 3 to 4 months in the game, both content from developers and us. But there's new stuff coming in all the time, and the best thing to do is just watch and let it unfold.
That's awesome. I'm going to take this in another direction, and OL, if you want to tell us anything about new stuff going on with WOGL. I know there's a new WOGL league system, if you want to talk about that a little.
Yeah, I think one of the most challenging things for us is obviously the situation with our league system and how it has to be managed currently, which really requires a lot of work. I mean, you can talk to any of these guys that work on CrossFire or any of the other games for that matter, and how much time and effort that they have to put in to manage everything the way we're doing it now. And it's difficult. I mean, no lie. There's just so much time that has to be put in to make sure that everything's right, and there's a lot of I guess human error that could come into play. And we know that the communities, all of the communities, not just the CrossFire one, don't deal very well with a stat being wrong or a number of rounds being wrong. So it's at the top of our priority list to change that and to update our website and to look at technology and try to improve what we're doing as we go. And so we've tried a couple of systems in the past that were pretty much letdowns as far as what we wanted to do with them. And so coming soon, we're going to be releasing our new website, which it's structured a lot more for tournament play and for really being able to interact with the other team within the website. Basically, it utilizes IRC private chats and stuff like that. You don't have to have IRC downloaded. It actually is a Java plug-in that's built into the site, so you can communicate with the team and that type of thing. So there's a lot of added things inside of this new system that are going to be great, I think, and hope. We're still trying those things out and making sure that everything works properly before we fully utilize it. But it is promising. Everything does look like it's going to work well, and we're hoping for the best. I think the biggest thing is that a lot of players don't understand. And when you're building a league, I mean, we started this thing from a forum of a couple hundred players, and then have built it to almost 40,000 players now in just a couple of years. And one thing you have to understand is that every development that is done to WOGL costs money. A league site custom built is going to be anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000. And that's a very expensive amount of money to put out, especially when we don't generate that kind of money. It's one thing when you're generating it and you can see the reason for doing it. And we know as a league, in order to grow past where we're at right now, we've got to be able to implement some systems. So we have to take advantage of what's out there, and that's what we've done with this new system. And as we go along, we do plan on developing our own system once we get the opportunity to do that. So with that, we'll be releasing that site coming soon. And as far as other new things going on, IESF, which we've had a relationship with since last year, where we went over to Korea and competed in FIFA Online 2, Warcraft 3, and AVA. We're going to be doing that same thing this year. The only difference is the games have changed. It's going to be StarCraft 2, again FIFA Online, which our qualifying event will be FIFA 11, and then AVA will again be run by EG, who's going to do the qualifiers on their own site this year as well. So we'll be running the FIFA Online 2, which will be FIFA 11 in the United States. But once you get to Korea, you'll compete in FIFA Online 2, which is similar. And then also StarCraft 2, which we'll be running as well, which is pretty exciting because that's a really huge game right now, and it's really exciting that we're going to be able to put some qualifiers together for that. And the winners of those events will get all expenses paid trips to Korea to compete on the worldwide stage at IESF. So the last time we went, a couple of those matches were broadcast live on TV in Korea. So you know, it's certainly a great experience for those that have not played in that type of event before. So exciting things: WCG, IESF, new website. So, you know, stay tuned. We've got a lot more things on the plate. I know Ben's at E3 right now, and so I'm sure he's enjoying his time there and has been talking to some game companies and hardware companies, and so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot going on in WOGL and CrossFire right now, and I've been hearing that some people are confused about the Season 3 prizes. So, I mean, while we got you guys here, if you want to just confirm that and let us know what those are, if we have that.
Yeah, I can confirm that the same prize, the cash prizes from last season, are going to be the same. There's going to be some additional stuff. OL, I think you have the exact details, and if not, we'll be posting them as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't have them on me, so I'll have to read through the site to get them. But I will post a link in our CrossFire forum for those that want to look those up. But yeah, I know that one of the questions that we were getting, Saidin, was about the ribbons for those that complete Season 3, and and I think that was something that we were planning on doing for this season, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, with ribbons, as everybody knows, is something that we don't stop doing. We plan on implementing plenty of more ribbons. We've got lots more ideas for stuff coming, and for sure, we want to recognize participants in WOGL. It's an opportunity to maybe show off WOGL to some people who don't know what it is, and it's an opportunity for people who are in the system to show off to their friends. So ribbons will be available for anybody who completes the season. So it'll be for teams that actually play it through and don't drop out and stuff like that. And we will for sure have ribbons for you for that.
Alright, so definitely sign your team up right away and get that ribbon for completing. And I wanted to take some community questions. Are we ready for?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come right back and go with some community questions. That sound good to you, Saidin?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, we'll be right back.
and live.
Alright, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around this long. We're going to field some questions from Facebook and from the Z8 forums now, so if you guys want to post your questions there, we'll just keep running through them. I got a question from Esteban Macias. I think I pronounced that wrong, but this is for Saidin. Will there be any Z8 game sponsored tournaments? People are missing the March of Ghosts and Autumn Assault and stuff like that. They want to know if you guys had anything like that.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good question. In the past with those tournaments, we've had a blast running them, but you know, they're a manpower and time issue. Also with public signups, I mean, the March of the Ghost tournaments, I think we opened up signups and we had to close them in about 2 minutes because we had more teams than we could handle, and even then, you know. Was everybody still here?
Yeah.
Are we live still? All right. Well, there we go. So some technical problems in there getting to tournaments, and this is exactly the kinds of things that we would experience on our tournaments. You know, we would sign up 64 teams in a matter of seconds, and the site could barely handle the traffic. So to continue with what we're saying, you know, we love the fact that WOGL steps in and is able to handle this competitive community. Yes, we would like to bring back the sort of casual competitive side of the game, especially with other modes. You know, we'd like to bring in stuff like Ghost Mode and Escape Mode for some sort of tournament. And this, you know, comes to talk about what I was saying before with an ELO system and our clan page, because that will allow us to do things like seasons and maybe special events and things where, you know, we can control who qualifies for what, as opposed to just pressing a button on an internet page and letting fate decide who gets to play. With so many clans on the clan page, it's impossible for us to let everybody play in a tournament. Otherwise, we would be here till 3 years from now playing one out. So yes, we want to do more of that stuff. But you know, WOGL and our competitive outlets will always be the place to go for the best competition in the game. And you know, hopefully we can bring in some of the more casual players with some other official stuff.
Yeah, I think to add to that, Saidin, if this new system works out, it's going to allow us to handle events a little bit better. So we may be able to run multiple, like 64 team cups and stuff like that, so that those teams get an opportunity to compete. Again, it's going to be the same scenario where you're going to get people signed up so quickly to play, but at the same time, it'll still be a way to offer those players. I think we learned our lesson in the last Silent Night event that we are just getting close to finishing, I believe, and that's been since Christmas. So there was just I think there was just so many teams. It's absolutely impossible to run an event that big and to accommodate everybody and not have some sort of issues. So maybe we can help with that in the future. We'll see how the new system goes.
Yeah, and we're definitely looking forward to that. You know, I've had a chance to sort of speak to OL about that stuff, and I think it's a great system that's coming up. And you know, for events like that, Z8 Games and us and CrossFire will easily step in as sponsors for that kind of thing, and have prizes, and you know, do things for the clans that can give them exposure and just, you know, all around more fun to play with. So we're looking forward to that as well.
All right. Well, that sounds really good. I have another Facebook question for you. This one's actually also for Saidin. It's from Jacob. Will there be a server in which WOGL or ESL rules are implemented?
I can't. It's really difficult for me to comment on server stuff. I don't have a lawyer sitting in front of me, so I'm too afraid to say anything. At the end of the day, though, you know, adding servers and looking at what we can do with servers is something that we always do. I know that in the public's eye, it may seem like this kind of stuff takes forever, but setting up a server for a game like this and getting that kind of stuff implemented is more than just signing a piece of paper and handing over a check. So, you know, especially when you talk about limited rules and limiting things on the server and stuff, all that has to go through the developers, and there's a lot of red tape and a lot of hurdles to go through. So those ideas are all great, and we listen to all those kinds of things, and you know, we try to do our best with what we have available. So I can't really comment any more specifically on that without getting into too scary of a matter with getting everybody all excited for something. You know, at this point, what we have to work with is what we work with, and if things change, then you know that we're changing it for the better.
To add to that, Saidin, and maybe I can say a little bit more because I don't have to worry about it, but you know, one of the things that you got to consider also from a business standpoint and implementing something like that, and that they would look at, I believe, just as well as we would, is how much sense that it makes. And if you look at the number of teams, 56 teams, I said, I believe, we have signed up, and you multiply that out times 8 players, could that really justify the bandwidth, the server costs, all of those types of things for that number of players? And even when you consider the other leagues as well, I mean, you're still not talking about, I think Saidin said he had, you know, thousands of clans that are in the game, but there's only a small portion that actually compete. So, you know, as far as the community is concerned, in order for that to be a viable option in the business world, I think you got to have some pretty big numbers to justify putting a server together specifically with its own rule sets.
Well, so now you guys know what to do. Tell all your friends about WOGL and get more people involved in competitive gaming, and maybe we can see a feature like that in the future. And you guys have any other community questions? I'm looking at the Facebook. If you guys want to post more questions on that CrossFire. Getting a lot of questions here. I'm not going to even give it credit to anybody specifically, but there's a lot of talk going on with, I guess, Chinese version of CrossFire has some kind of replay system that everyone's jealous about, and everyone wants to know if something like that is planned, is in the works for the North American version.
So again, I can answer that to some degree, but you know, there are some things that it just cannot talk about, you know, legally, like other versions of CrossFire. We are definitely aware that there are other things in other versions of CrossFire that are desired by our users, and we do our best within our limits to transmit those desires to the developers. It certainly wouldn't surprise me to get a feature that is in another version, but you know, it would be impossible for me to say when or at what point in time. So replay change is something that everybody was pretty happy to hear about, no matter what version of CrossFire it was, and it would be really nice to see it in our version. But like I said, it's impossible for me to talk about when, where, and all that kind of stuff.
Do we have any more questions, OL, or anything you want to mention?
No, nothing specifically. I just wanted to, you know, I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to you know, be a part of putting some competitions together for the game. I think it's done really well. I think if we look back at the first seasons and where we started at, and then where competitive gaming has gone from there, I think it's really good for the game, and really good for, obviously, for WOGL, as with us getting, you know, the WCG event and that type of thing. And I think it's been a good relationship. Obviously, being able to come on and do these types of interviews is something that's very rare with the game publisher anyway. But to be able to talk and discuss game content and where we're going and that type of thing. And even though, you know, as far as the community is concerned, obviously, you know, you can't release a lot of information. If you look at all the other games, you know, how many other companies get on and do these types of events and let you know anything about the game before it actually comes out. So I just want to say to Saidin, I appreciate him taking the time and the effort and coming on here and letting the community know exactly what's going on with what he can tell us. So it's certainly appreciated, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons of the success of this game is people like Saidin that care about it, care about the community, and show that, and don't just talk about it.
Yeah, and you know, thanks for that, and I'd really like to thank WOGL as well for allowing us the opportunity to get even closer to the community. You know, one thing that we pride ourselves in our company is our connection to the players, even though, you know, there might be a lot of things to gripe about. Everybody's having fun, and you know, we really do like to hear what everybody has to say, and an opportunity to speak with people like yourself and join in on chats like this and become a part of the community ourselves. Just, you know, further validates all that, and it's just a lot of fun, and it makes our job easier, and we just like to smile with it and go with it. And you know, I personally love the competitive community. I want to give a big shout out to all the people competing in the WOGL events. It's you guys that we do this for, and we love it. So it's awesome. And to anybody waiting for content, I'll just give a big shout out to Alex Royd at this point. Keep your eyes open because he's coming in large.
All right, Saidin, thanks for joining us. And do you have any last?
No, thanks, Sandy. This is your first cast back in months, so appreciate you taking the time to come on and do the interview. I think it went really well, and it's good to have you back.
Yeah, no problem. I'm a little rusty, so sorry for you guys out there that are listening in, but I'm gonna try to get a little better. If you guys missed any parts of this cast, it's gonna be up a little bit later tonight on demand. So check out WOGL TV, click the on-demand button. You might have to register a username, but it should be up in a couple hours. So to everyone out there, thanks for watching and have a good night.
We'll also have this on the CrossFire YouTube channel at some point in the next few days as well, just to let everybody know. And I got to give a shout out to Rex and all my moderators too, because they're the bomb.